You're up awfully early. If you find yourself having to burn the midnight oil, give DeLuna Coffee's Midnight Shift a shot. This blend is pure Pensacola. DeLuna Coffee, in conjunction with the Pensacola Police Department, created this medium dark roast to make sure the city is caffeinated. A portion of every bag of Midnight Shift sold is donated to the Raleigh Foundation for Childhood Cancer Research. Try it or one of their over 24 blends and get a discount when you use the promo code WARCHANT15. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.
From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
wake up, wake up. Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
and this is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Coffee's for closers only.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hutchavandi.
And Corey Clark.
Run it.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee. DeLunaCoffee.com. Come explore our world of coffee. Come explore Corner Pocket 2 p.m. Saturday, y'all. There'll be some DeLuna giveaways, bundles, tumblers, coffee, treats. It'll be amazing. 2 p.m. Corner Pocket Saturday. Hope to see lots of you out later tonight, 5:30 p.m. Bannerman Road, Horizons Bar and Grill, Headlines Listener Appreciation Party. A.K.A. really Corey Clark Appreciation Party, y'all.
Word.
5-star rating and review for this podcast. That would be really cool, as well as a thumbs up if you're listening to us on YouTube. Maybe even subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's totally free, and it's the place to be, y'all. Nonetheless, we bring Corey Clark in now. The show can truly begin. We made it, Corey. We made it.
Deion Sanders days away, which is crazy that we're that close.
Clifton Abraham days away.
There you go. That's a good one. That's not a bad one, too. Yeah, he might have been the last one to wear it, huh?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And Clifton Abraham was a nice player in his own right now.
He was a really good player.
He was a good player. So I think he's one of the leaders in punt return touchdowns in Florida State history, and all his were blocked punts that he picked up.
Nice.
Including one, I can't remember the game, where he literally pushed a teammate out of the way. He's like, no, that's my ball. It could have been 5 guys. He's like, no, that's mine. But yeah, he was a great corner, especially for his size. A little Clifton Abraham trivia. He was on the team.
Yeah, Friday Night Lights.
That beat Permian in Friday Night Lights. Yeah,
Dallas
that was
Skyline,
a loaded team.
I think, right? Dallas Skyline, I think they're called, but whatever school they were. Yeah. Thank you, Corey. Way to drop it.
You got it. Yeah, a little Clifton Abraham trivia for everyone to start official game weekend. But yeah, man, it's here. We did it. We made it, and we'll know the quarterback in 2 hours and 2 days and 10 hours, depending on when you're listening to this.
There we go. We're going to take the rest of your Renegade Express questions, sprinkle them in here. But to Corey's point, we did speak to Mike Norvell for a final time on Thursday after their practice. Did ask him about quarterback. Is that something you're going to announce to your team on Saturday? And he just talked, or I'm like, you ready to talk about it now? And they know, he said, which to your point, you wrote a good story about it. Just basically, it's on a need-to-know basis. We do not need to know. We don't. I mean, everybody, listen, I understand everybody that you want to know. Like, I get it. And there's certain ways you can maybe spin this in your mind's eye to think, wow, this is like either a good sign or a really bad sign. Why won't he tell us? It's much to do about nothing. I know it's the most important position on the field in team sports against a historically heralded program. I get that, but I'm telling you, everybody, it's going to work out. It's going to be okay.
And the thing is I'm not a fan of this at all. Like, I think Terry Bowden even hadn't released a roster or something a couple weeks ago for whatever reason. I don't like where college football has gone, where they're so secretive of even who the starting right guard is. What would that matter? How is that going to change anything to tell people who the starting right guard is? The quarterback is the one position, though, right? Like, that is the one, especially when they're two varying skill sets. Again, we've talked about it, but it makes sense. He knows. The players know. The quarterbacks know, or they certainly will, in a day. But why would you announce it? Just to give Notre Dame, to give them, another day to prepare, a day to prepare. Okay, we know it's this guy, so here's what we're gonna do. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't make sense to me. Kind of like, and I think it started to happen more in Major League Baseball in the playoffs. Why would you announce your starting pitcher? Like, you don't have to announce it 4 days before.
Yeah.
You can. I mean, you can tell them, but I don't think you have to announce it. So you see in the playoffs now, some of these teams, will start a guy that's only started once all season. And I can't remember who did it. Somebody did it against the Dodgers, I think, to try to take advantage of their platoons. Because, Dave Roberts platoons, depending on if it's a righty or lefty. So they started a right-handed reliever. Maybe it was the Rays. I can't remember. They started a right-handed reliever just so Roberts would put all his lefties in the lineup. And then after the first inning, brought in a lefty. Or maybe even after one pitch or one batter, brought in a lefty. And now Dave Roberts has all his lefties in the lineup against the lefty. Now he can go and take them out and put in all the righty platoon players. But now those lefties have been burned, and you can't use them. So there's some gamesmanship in every sport, and this is more of the same.
I like somebody's theory about, this shows weakness in Notre Dame, that like you're not confident in one of your guys. Like you should come out and just announce it right now and just let Notre Dame know, hey, this is our guy. We're behind him. We totally know he's going to be great. Kind of the way that Notre Dame was like, hey, Jack Cohn's our guy. We're good. We know we don't need to dilly-dally around this. He's our guy. A little bit different situation. But again, if you're upset, I get it. I truly do. Like, I understand. I just hope that we've given you enough context clues over the last 2 weeks.
Upset about what, though? Like, what are they upset about?
Well, just like, I think some people really want to believe certain narratives or certain possibilities. Like, this is all, subversion tactics. And, like, then they're going to be like, maybe they'll probably disappointed on Sunday if that's what you think is going to happen. But nonetheless, we carry on. I keep saying nonetheless, and eliminate it out of my vocabulary along with my ums and my ahs. So, Corey, we did our score predictions. We'll announce them at the end of the show. It's part of a feature that Austin Cox has got up with analysis and predictions from everybody on the warchant.com family, all of us, you, Ira, Gene, Austin, obviously. I wonder if Michael's involved in it, Jeff, Tom. So go click on that to get everybody else's opinion to compare it against yours. But I think I moved a little bit off. I still think it'll be within the spread, but I've maybe given Notre Dame another field goal. I really am just curious. I want to see this game, obviously, for so many different reasons, but mostly to see how it compares in real life to what I've seen in practice and what I feel and how I'm kind of taking little anecdotal things I'm seeing at practice and using them in my calculus to figure out why I think this game is going to end up the way it is. Because it could be all for nothing, like, hey, I'm focusing on stuff that's not important, or maybe this stuff is important. I didn't necessarily think it was a really crisp 2 days that we got to see. Now, granted, they get Friday. Today, as you're listening to this podcast, they'll practice on Friday. I think it'll probably be a walkthrough. But nonetheless, I said it right there, Corey. But it will be a day for them to prepare and get a little bit better for Notre Dame. I always ask you, hey, could you have seen anything here in the last week that would have made you change your mind? For me, I went into things with a little bit of open mind. I thought Notre Dame was going to win the game, but if there were certain things I could have seen, one of these quarterbacks having a good day, good days, plural. We keep talking about flashing, Corey, and that's what it's just been, man. And I guess that's what you are when you're a 500 team, 6-6 in that ballpark. You're going to have up and down days, up and down periods. Like you're just. I know Jameis had bad throws in practice, but there was probably days where he or Christian Ponder just had good days start to finish. No bad real throws. I didn't see any of that in the last week here, so I've adjusted a little bit of my optimism, a little bit of my enthusiasm.
Okay.
Where are you at right now as we descend upon game day, Sunday, 7:30, ABC, nationally televised?
Yeah, I don't know. Depends on how the quarterbacks play. How about that?
Okay.
Quarterbacks play well. Florida State's got themselves a real fighting chance. Interestingly enough, Brian Kelly was quoted talking about the quarterbacks. It was kind of a weird quote. He said, unless it was just a made-up Twitter quote, but I don't think it was. It looked like it was from a reputable source about how Mike Norvell's always liked running quarterbacks, and Jordan Travis is like a great running quarterback, and they don't know who's going to play. They're preparing for both, but Jordan Travis is like the engine of that offense. I was kind of odd. It was a bizarre statement because, when you go back to Memphis, that kid didn't run at all.
No.
And he's one of the reasons Norvell's at Florida State is because of the way he ran that offense. And it wasn't him running around doing a bunch of skip-de-doos and looky-loos and running for 35 yards and making people miss. It was just him running the offense. So I don't know why Brian Kelly would say that. It's kind of odd. But I do think that, yeah, man, you better be preparing for Jordan Travis. Whether he gets the majority of the reps or not, he's going to get some. And you couldn't handle him last year. You really struggled with him. So, yeah, I would imagine they're giving a lot of a lot of attention to him. But no matter who plays, man, if they can play well, if they can play well on third down and not turn the ball over, that I get. Again, I don't think Notre Dame is incredible. They might be inflated because of what they did last year, and even then it was pretty ugly there at the end. But their ranking might be inflated because of what they did last year. I think they saw more talent than Florida State, certainly more proven talent, but they're beatable. And so, there's nothing I've seen in the last week that would make me think, oh, yeah, Florida State's going to win by 30. But, Florida State can hang with this team. Florida State should not be completely overwhelmed. And if they are, if they are, especially on defense, if they just get overwhelmed again.
And not early on either.
Yeah, but also, if the offense does its job, then, your defense should be somewhat fresh in the third or fourth quarter. Like, you know what I mean? If the offense cannot have a lot of 3 and outs, can control the ball, you should be, those 5 guys should be fresh enough. But yeah, I don't, I could certainly see Florida State winning this game. I would not be stunned. Yeah. I also wouldn't be stunned if they lost by 3 touchdowns. It's a weird season, right? It's a weird season opener, I guess I should say.
Yes.
I don't remember ever going into a season having no clue what I expected in this game. Like having no real window to fit it in. Like, okay, if they win, it's going to be this, or they have no chance of winning, or, they're going to lose by 40 points. It could be everything. It's a full spectrum with this game.
That's the frustrating part, is that at practice you'll see them call a timeout, like an 11-on-11, like first rep. Like, what? Like, we're starting the period. We're starting team. How do we not know where we need to be? Why are we calling a timeout? You'll see a horrible throw the next rep, and then another, and then it's like 4th and 10, and they throw a huge touchdown, and you're like, what? It's almost maddening, because the party was like, well, how'd the defense? What's the defense doing, napping on 4th and 10 and allowing somebody to get behind them? But then it's like, hey, look at your offense, that they can dig themselves out of holes now. They weren't able to dig themselves out of holes. But
I would say too, don't you think there's a little? It's a little bit of the natural progress of a preseason practice. I mean, the plays by now, right?
Yeah, I mean, but then how's that part of the natural process? If you know the plays, like you've been scripting out your practices this way for the last 3 weeks. Like this is team. You know where you have to be. A play's going to be called.
No, I'm saying the defense has a good idea what's coming.
Right.
They know combination routes. They know this. They've been going up against these guys for 4 weeks now. Yeah. So maybe it is a little harder to get open against guys that can run the route for you, because they have a good idea what's coming. Or maybe they even see the signal. Maybe they even hear what's coming, and they're running the route for you. That should not be happening on Sunday night.
No. It's just nothing will, to your point, I guess nothing would surprise me. I will say, I think Florida State, if I'm going to see if there's a first quarter line, and I'll take it. I don't even know how many points Notre Dame is giving us, but I'll take them. I think Florida State, I can see Florida State being up in the first quarter. I can see them starting off strong. I'm telling you, folks, so you will see this team, and you'll want to throw your controller, and then I think within the same sequence, within the same set of downs, you might want to jump around and start hugging your buddies that you're watching the game with. I think this team is going to be very Jekyll and Hyde, at least early on. Because that's what they've been in practice. And that's what you are when you're a 6-6 football team. You are up and down. You are going to miss throws. Then you're going to make crazy throws.
Yeah, but last year, right? Last year it was just Hyde.
Yeah.
Or Jekyll. Which was the bad guy? Was it Hyde was the bad guy?
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. So I think Dr. Jekyll would be a nice guy, or is Mr.
Yeah.
Mr.
So it was
nice
So Mr. Hyde was the guy that I guess murdered people or tormented the town. So yeah, it was mostly Mr. Hyde last year. There wasn't a lot of good. There wasn't a lot of Dr. Jekyll. I think you'll have more Dr. Jekyll this year.
Okay. Yeah.
We're keeping it old school, man. We're rocking like the 1880s. You know what I mean? We're coming up with crazy
Still
references.
Relevant.
This isn't. We're not doing Bring It On or movies from the 2000s. We're doing Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde references. I'm gonna look up when that was made and who wrote it. I should probably know both of those.
All right. While you look that up, I did find the quote that you referenced. Only one person tweeted it out, and it was an Austin Gale from Pro Football Focus. He's got a blue check mark next to his name. It's got to be real. This was from Wednesday, apparently. Notre Dame head coach Brian Kelly on preparing for Week 1 against Florida State. Maybe I can actually find the quote. I'll play it for you folks if I can find the audio. But here it is in written word. This is Travis's offense. Mike Norvell likes a running quarterback. We're preparing for both, but we think that Travis is the guy that really is the energy behind this offense. Which, yeah, that's a lot. I mean,
but that's exactly what he would think, right? Because Travis was really good against them last year.
Yeah.
And when he's healthy, he's a good quarterback. He's a handful. So yeah, you can understand why he would think that. But yeah, you have to plan for Mackenzie Milton too. I don't know how much that goes into like changing up what you do. But yeah, so at any rate, it makes sense, man. What's the point? As Norvell said, everyone will know who the starting quarterback is at 7:44 p.m. on Sunday when they run out. I think we both think that they'll play some on Sunday night, and I think as we move forward, they will both be a part of this offense moving forward. A substantial bit, right? I think we both think that they will both have games. I think there will both be games where they're in the game. One of them is in the fourth quarter of a close game. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I don't think both are playing Sunday though.
I think there'll be
it's not planned. I don't think so.
But I do think moving forward, whatever happens Sunday, there will be reps shared between those two guys, and maybe one guy just wrestles the job away and is awesome, and then it's his. But I don't think that will be known after. I don't think that will be Sunday night, and I don't think it'll be. I would think maybe after the Wake game is when you're like, okay, this is our guy moving forward. We're going to ride with him unless he's really struggling. By the way, I didn't realize this. It's actually called The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Oh, okay.
That's the actual title by my man Robert Louis Stevenson. Florida State used to have an offensive lineman named Robert Stevenson, by the way. First published in 1886. So I got the decade right.
Look at you.
That's what I do. It felt like an 1880s type story.
That genre. I didn't think it was that far back, but golly. My goodness. All right.
Yeah, it was the evil Edward Hyde. Yeah. So, yeah.
I was going to say let's get the score predictions, but I thought defensive line looked quite good in pass rush skills on Thursday. Robert Cooper, I don't know, maybe I'm biased because I love Robert. I don't know why. I just love Robert. I just want to be friends with Robert. I just love the Bobs. Give me Robert Scott, Robert Cooper. Let me just hang out with those guys all the time. He put guys on roller skates, scholarship guys on roller skates, every single rep he took. Like that's – I wish we could see more of that. Fabian Lovett had some really good reps. Jermaine Johnson's just unreal. That's really strong. But he is. He looks so much different. That's another thing I wish I could have compared apples and apples to, sort of, is like him versus Kane Doe. Like, did Kane Doe look like that? Because, Kane Doe got to break the stone before last season's opener, and we had real big expectations. He didn't, really produce numbers. He's got a future ahead of him now here in the NFL. Hopefully that works out for him, but we obviously didn't see a lot of it on Saturdays. But Jermaine Johnson is just so quick. He's so fast. And I know you can be like, well, you can maybe you can just run right past the quarterback and then the breaks contained and everything's screwed up. Like, whatever, I'll take that right now. Because he's going to
pressure quarterback. Just pressure quarterback into a quick throw.
He's probably going up against a true freshman left tackle. I don't know where they're going to line Jermaine up, but I would imagine he's going to probably line up on the right side, so he'll be going up against the left tackle. Their left tackle is a true freshman. Now, he's good. Right. It's Notre Dame. They're not going to throw a slappy out there.
He's probably an NFL player, but not right now. He's 3 years away from that.
Yeah, I don't know, 65, 70,000 people in Doak, first start, night game. It's still a little bit hazy from all the fireworks that have been shot off. You don't know what's going on around you. It's going to be a little disorienting, so it's going to be key for, I think, Jermaine. If the defense wants to have a strong game.
Just wait till that kid, that true freshman left tackle hears it's third down. He's going to call a timeout. He's going to become the first left tackle in history to raise up and call a timeout.
He's going to drop down like cramps.
I can't do this. I can't do what down. Oh, they're so loud. Listen to that voice.
I did ask Norvell. Did you hear his answer when I asked him about what's up with all the IPF stuff? And he said there was like a dual purpose for what we're trying to get done, but he didn't expound on it. I'm trying to think, like, what can you get done in the IPF that you can't get done outside? It was weird. It was bizarre. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's been all secret.
I don't know, buddy.
They did have the music back on Thursday. And by music, I mean crowd noise. I should say crowd noise. They weren't playing Lil Yachty or, Lil Baby or Lil fill in the blank.
Right.
So they did. But there's one of the other things, though. They're like, they got the music cranking, like the crowd, like, and then Kenny and them are all turning to Monk's son. They're like, turn off the music. Turn it off. And then they turn it off. And then they end up running a really nice play against a scout team defense. And I'm like, that was cool. It'd be really cool if everybody would be quiet when they tell you to. But that's not how it's going to work on Sunday, guys.
Well, the difference though is I would think the thinking there is they are at home. So it's not they're not going to be struggling to hear each other when they're on offense. The defense is the one that has to get used to playing with the crowd noise because on third down, it's going to be loud, and they got to communicate without being able to hear each other. So that's where that practice comes in, I think.
All right, let's get back to our good friends here on the warchant.com's Tribal Council. It is called the Renegade Express. We had 30. We blitzed through a whole bunch of them, but had some leftovers. These are still top shelf, though. This comes from Rick Tees, 37. Corey, on the Mastromano end-over-end punts, I've spent 4 winters in Australia playing baseball. 2 of their primetime sports are rugby and Australian rules football. Both involve a ball shaped similar to a football, slightly bigger, slightly heavier. Kicking those end over end makes them go way further and more accurate than a spiral. They start kicking these things at about age 3 out there, and all my Australian teammates could kick one 50 to 60 yards, and they were baseball players. So Master Romano's probably more comfortable and better at punting the end over end kicks. The leg strength is probably next level because of his probable pass of playing Aussie rules footy. See you guys this weekend. Go Noles. Rick from St. Augustine.
He said he played baseball in Australia?
Yeah, Australia. 4 winners.
That, man. What a
winners,
story that is. Look, now he's hit some bombs with the spiral too. Like, I don't know that end over end. I don't know the physics of it. I feel like the end over end wouldn't go as far as the spiral just because of the way it's cutting through the air. But he kicked the crap out of them end over end too. Like they went pretty high and pretty far. I know the one I remember vividly that was the spiral was like a 59-yarder. Like it would have been a 59-yard punt. So he kicked it 69 yards in the air as a spiral. It looked like an Xavier Lee pass. It was. I mean, he bombed it. So yeah, but I thought, and we'll see what he does. It also might be easier to kick end over end when you're rolling to your right or rolling a little bit like these guys do. But I thought he was kicking more end over end, but when it was trying to pin him deep, to kick it higher and give his teammates a chance to get down there and catch it.
Unfortunately, we won't see him punt because there's going to be just throwing Fitzgerald out there kicking extra points all night. So
yeah, that'll be the only time Master Romano's on the field is to hold.
Yeah, maybe Jacksonville State. Although, and they looked rough, so we can definitely put that in the win column, everybody.
Well, their offense didn't look good. Their defense actually wasn't terrible. Like they competed, but their offense was not great.
Yeah. All right. NYC_Nole_2. It's game week, y'all. Not much time left to speculate. We're going to have all our preseason questions answered in a matter of days. Up here in New York City, you can feel that slight nip of chill in the air after a simmering summer. By the way, he wrote this on Monday. Hope you're fine up there. I know they got pounded with rain from Ida. My goodness, can you believe that thing was just a little bit of storm in the Caribbean. Then it freaking rocks Louisiana and goes all the way up to the eastern seaboard and just drenches everybody.
Mother Nature ain't no joke. Yeah, some of those pictures were the baseball stadiums being flooded, the streets being flooded. Like you could see just the tops of cars. It's like, wow, man.
All right, me and some buddies have even gone and grabbed an outdoor table to watch the hapless Huskers lose yet again this past weekend. That's how desperate we are for football to be back. Final thoughts I'd like to share before toe meets leather. 1, I'm just looking for improvement this year. W's will come, but I want to see coordinated and dynamic offensive drives for stretches of the game, followed by periods when the defense stiffens up and makes the opposing offense frustrated. Not saying it will always result in a W, but you can see this team tightening up. 2, I want us to be better at the end of the season than the beginning. I expect a few games early on will be ugly, but I want our late season games to be FSU rising, not sputtering to finish out. Well said. That's one of the things we probably never really hammered last year is the fact that they never did. They didn't look better. I guess.
Well, that was.
Go.
I mean, it might sound like an excuse, but those are real excuses. Like, dozens of players that they started the season with weren't there. They had 3 or 4 weeks off. It was such a stop and start and hiccup. I'm thinking more of the offense. The defense, to me, it didn't matter who was out there. I mean, it did, but it didn't. You know what I mean? They were bad from week 2. Right. Really week 1, but especially week 2 on. But yeah, the offense, you can't get any rhythm when you're going 4 weeks without playing a football game. and everybody's in and out of the lineup, and you don't know who your quarterback's going to be. That was just this is a much better gauge. There won't be any excuse unless they're ravaged by injuries or something. If this team looks worse the third week of November than it does the first week of September.
Yeah, but I guess I don't know. We'll say, well, it's Boston. If it's Florida or Miami, like, hey, it's.
Yeah, I mean, competition matters, but I feel like we still have a discerning enough eye to know. Okay, they might have lost that game, but they're playing better than they did 2 weeks ago when they snuck past whoever.
Yeah. I got excited listening to Warchant report. Ira's like, hey man, I'm excited to see what this game's going to be like because kind of the excuses are over. Like you can call whatever year zero, whatever you want to call it. He's like, but now it's. There's no more mulligans, man. You had a 3-6 season that has largely been forgotten and forgiven by your fan base.
Yeah,
it's incredible, really, just how quickly everybody kind of processed and got over that. You got to look good on Sunday. You just have to. You have to.
Well, Corey. You don't. The sun will keep coming up and the earth will keep spinning even if you don't look good. But for at least some of those coaches on that staff, you can't look like you did last year, or things are going to get dicey quickly.
Corey Aslan, thank you for providing indelible entertainment this offseason. You guys really do a great job.
Hey, wait, was that you saying that thing about Ira, or was that the questioner?
Me. That was me.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. Okay. I didn't want to interrupt the questioner.
No, you're fine. Right. You guys really do a great job. You'd be surprised exactly which earphones are tuned in to wake up, bustling off the subway platforms in the morning in the Big Apple. Jealous I won't be able to meet everyone this weekend, but hopefully for our New Year's Day bowl game. Absolutely. Go Noles.
Absolutely. Yep.
Drink your DeLuna. Noel War Daddy 1424. Gentlemen, I wanted to say a heartfelt thank you to you guys for keeping me entertained while I was stationed in South Korea the last year. Being 13 to 14 hours ahead was difficult to stay updated on everything FSU, but you guys and everyone else on the warchant.com staff made it easy. Being from the Tampa area and now being fortunate enough to be stationed at MacDill Air Force Base to finish my military career is a dream come true. That's awesome. Man, that's if you're from Tampa and you're in the military, MacDill, that's where you want to be. That's where you want to be. Like Willie's dream, being a Florida guy, coaching Florida State. Just don't screw it up, no war, Dad. Just don't hit the red button. Feels great to be home. I look forward to meeting you guys soon. Here's my question. What's the most important thing you are looking for from this team against Notre Dame? Thanks again. Keep up the great work. Okay. I think what NYC Noles I want to see stretches of success in a game. Like I want to see, control the third quarter for 8 minutes of it. I don't want to see like this frenetic start in the first quarter and then you're just kind of hanging on like you did against North Carolina. Let's see you start strong, see them make adjustments, see you respond, and make it a 4-quarter football game.
Yeah, sure, fine. Yeah, that works. There's a lot of things that are important. I don't know if there's one thing that I could pinpoint, but yeah, there's defense. Defense has to look coordinated. That's my number one going into it. I do think these guys, because of their track record, will get the offense figured out and get it to a point where it's a good offense. Maybe not elite right now, but good this season. The defense, I have huge question marks. And so I'd like to see some serious improvement there. That's my number one takeaway going into it. That's going to be what I'm looking at the most.
Okay. FSU Kenny. Okay, gentlemen, we have probably the biggest crowd we will have all season coming in. The crowd is normally worth 5 to 7 points. How can we beat Notre Dame? And if we pull the upset, will it be a high-scoring game or low-scoring game, and why? Give an FSU win score.
31-30.
Okay.
They're down 30-28, and then Fitzy splits the uprights on the last play of the game to make it 31-30. That's how you win. I don't think you can beat them in a 13-10 type game. I just think I don't trust the defense to do that. So you're gonna have to get in the high 20s or low 30s to win. I think. Hopefully not more than that. If you have to go more than that, then you just got the same problems you had last year. But yeah, man, look, the recipe they had last year actually wasn't terrible. I think they got an early turnover up there. They scored. They got a quick lead. It's just Notre Dame knew they could just hand the ball off and score 40 points, which is exactly what they did. If you have to make them throw the ball, if you put them in a lot of throwing situations, that's your best chance, man. That's where you can get some strip sacks, maybe a rush throw, a turnover. If they can just dictate 2nd and 3 the whole game, you got no chance. So slowing down the running game, holding them to what, Aslan? 180, 150? Like what's the number you got to hold them to where you feel pretty good about your chances?
I haven't discounted that throwing game of theirs as much as everybody else has, but yeah, like
I'm not discounting it, but that's
let them get 175. I'll give you 175 on the ground, Brian Kelly.
Yeah, and I mean, Cohn's a nice enough quarterback. Like, he's not anything special, but he can hit open guys, and he's played in big games. He's probably going to be good on the play action. They're going to hit some plays on play action, but you just can't let them always be in 2nd and 2. Like, I don't know what Book's numbers were last year, but all his throws seem just the easy peasy. Make Jack Cohn have to make some throws on 3rd and 14. Make some plays. Make that dude beat you instead of just letting the offensive line slowly truck you all the way down the field.
Special teams touchdown.
There you go. That's a good one, too.
Don't turn the ball over, win turnover margin, and then score last. Whoever scores last wins the football game. And if Florida State were to be winning an upset, I would say the score is going to have to be like 28, 24. Yeah, they're going to have to score more than 28. Get in the end zone 4 times, once a quarter. With all the talk, real quick before we get to the rest of these questions, I kind of whatever it's called. I digress. We keep talking about how good Mike did against Marcus Freeman in 2019 at Memphis. He beat him twice, back-to-back weeks. AAC championship game was one of them.
Right.
Shout out, no shout out. Adam Fuller held Cincinnati to 24 points both games.
Okay. All right.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not the Adam Fuller stan on the show, as the kids would say. I'm not the Adam Fuller. I'm not his public defender here.
Right.
I just wonder why he was able to do that. Big games. They had to beat Cincinnati the week before, I think, to make it to the AAC game. And then they actually win the championship game. And they held them to 24 points. And that quarterback of theirs, Desmond Ritter, is that who it is? Everybody loves that guy now.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah, granted, that was 2 years ago, but still. Come on, Adam. Hold them at 24. You tell me right now, Notre Dame's only scoring 24 points. I'd say like there's an 87% chance Florida State wins.
Oh, okay. Nice. I like it.
Branson, FSU 71. Did we do this? Specifics. Can we get in? We can't. I mean, Corey can try. I'm not going to try. Can we get into specifics on the strengths versus the weaknesses of Amari Gaynor, Steven Dix, DJ Lundy, Kalen DeLoach? Are they undisciplined? How firm of a grasp do they have on the defense? Gap responsibility, drop depth, etc. This is a Tom Lane question. Are they just too unathletic and slow in pass coverage, or is there hope? How solid are they in run support? Will the defensive line do their job and allow them to run free and make plays?
All good questions. Ask us again in 2 or 3 weeks. It's hard. I mean, it's hard to know. Half the times they only had 9 practices in pads the whole month. That's an NCAA rule. So how much do you really know about what a linebacker can and can't do until you see it at least a couple of games? And those dudes don't have any real Dick's got a lot of snaps, but DeLoach and Lundy got very little, like maybe 8 or 10 a game last year. So who knows? No idea. I don't expect them to be good initially. Hopefully by the end of the year, the middle of the year, it's a solid linebacking group. But right now it's just filled with inexperience, and I don't know how talented it is. They could be. I mean, the way they talk about Lundy and DeLoach, there might be some real talent there, and we all know what Gaynor has potentially, but we got to see it now, especially with Gaynor. It's his money year. So hopefully he can take that next step. And then Lundy and DeLoach play like the coaches say they're playing like. But again, it's one thing to do it in practice in helmet and shoulder pads, not tackling. It's another thing to try to tackle that Notre Dame kid going up against those Notre Dame linemen, full speed. So it's going to be a learning curve. Don't expect to see a lot of great plays out of your linebackers early, just being honest. But maybe by the middle of the year, they turn into something you can, have some hope for.
If I could ask any of these combination of questions, any permeation of this to them, I'd be like, what don't you guys like about Amari Gaynor? Like, that's what I'm like, what don't you like about him? Because I don't know what.
And obviously, there's no way you would get a coach to
right.
answer that
Yeah. That's like over beers kind of thing when we're at a bowl game hanging out or whatever. Only thing I would say on that, Branson, just to effort something for you, just so you don't think I'm totally brushing your question off. I think they like DeLoach's coverage skills, at least relative to the other guys. Like I don't know if he's going to be white on rice on everybody. I mean, that Michael Meyer guy is. He's good.
Yeah, they're not. They're that's a big mismatch, man. Yeah. That's a mismatch. You might want to put a nickel on him, but even then, he's got a huge size advantage. That guy's the truth. That tight end. But look, they also, when you listen to Fuller talk, they are going to have some defenses where there's only one of those guys on the field. Maybe a majority of the game against some teams. There'll just be one, at most two linebackers on the field. Now, Notre Dame, you would think it'd be two or three, and then Jamie Robinson coming down or whoever you want to come down and get close to the line of scrimmage. But yeah, they know that's the weakest part of their defense, and they got to try to find a way to combat that.
Two more. Tennis.
Let's do it.
Thanks for getting us through the summer, guys. What are your initial thoughts regarding the depth chart? One that stood out to me is DJ Lundy over Steven Dix. Thanks as always. Offensive line for me, that was some of the names on there, quite frankly, we haven't really seen participate. And some of the guys we did see participate a lot, and they're not running first team. So that to me was the biggest sort of wow. But it's largely played out that way here this week in terms of who's been with the ones running against scout team defense. So watching the offensive line practice, then seeing the depth chart, and then seeing who's, how the fidelity they've had to the depth chart this week, that's probably my biggest surprise when it comes to the depth chart.
The fidelity, huh? Nice.
Yeah, thank you.
No infidelity going on, just fidelity.
Never.
Nice. Lundy. Because Dix played so much last year, you figured he would be the starter. But yeah, whatever they've seen out of Lundy, they've liked. Now look, I'm not saying that he hasn't had flashes. He's looked good. He certainly looked better in these practices than I remember him looking last year in games. He's made a couple of trigger plays where he just shoots the gap. It makes a play in the backfield. That's some stuff we didn't see from him at all last year. So maybe he's about to be unleashed. Big, physical, strong kid. So's Dix. So I assume both of them will play. But yeah, I could understand that why that would be a surprise going into the season because Dix was the guy that played so much more last year.
This is a good one. I like this one. It's this guy's name is B.A. Jordash.
Okay.
Joined January 26, 2006. 13 posts total ever. So they picked their spots. Wake up. I should give you more energy than that. Wake up. First time Renegade Express poster. I am born and raised in Tallahassee, Florida. A famous person from Tallahassee would be T-Pain.
Yeah,
I have a question for Corey and an observation. Listening to you guys compare us to Nebraska. I was at the game last Saturday versus Illinois. Before you ask why, it's my goal to attend all 65 Power 5 teams' home games. After Arkansas in October, I'll only have 12 left. That's awesome, man. I like that. Everyone's like, I want to go visit every Major League Baseball park. Oh, man. Go to every Power 5 stadium for a home game, to experience their tailgate and everything. Give me that. That's awesome.
That's a lot, man. But that's also you got to go to Lubbock, in Waco, in Manhattan. I mean, there's some rough
Why you got to beat
places.
up on the Big 12? Why beat up on the Big 12, man? Tucson. I heard Tucson's not all that.
That's
cool.
a tough. Now Tempe would be cool, but man,
Tucson. I heard is the Gainesville of Arizona. Is what
that's probably that. I think that checks out. Well, good for you, man. I can't wait till you knock it out.
Yeah, let us know when you're planning on. Let us know the last one. Maybe we'll come out and join you. The biggest similarity to me between the two programs is the passionate fan base. There were a lot of Husker fans at Memorial Stadium in Champaign, along with great plays followed by head scratchers, like catching the punt at the 1-yard line. I agree with Corey, though. Our location is the biggest reason why we'll never get that bad. The question is, Corey, were you at either game in Lincoln? 1980 or 1985? If not, what was a standout moment you remember from either game? Keep up the great work and go Noles.
Well, I'm not that old to remember the 80 game. I've read up on it quite a bit since, and the play of the game was the fumble. Notre Dame's getting ready to go in to win the game, and then I think Kaz Porowski's dad
Paul
stripped the quarterback of the ball. I think the quarterback's name was Redwine, Jarvis Redwine, which is an incredible name. I think that's who it was, but he fumbled the ball, and then Gary Futch recovered it, or vice versa. I know those two guys played the prominent role in it. And then what's his name? The kicker, Capice, had like 5 or 6 field goals in that game, and that's why they won. And then the 85 game, I was not at that one either, but I did watch it. My mom had some friends that had a house on Lake Lanier, and Florida State, not many of their games were on TV back then, but that one was a nationally televised game at 3:30, and Florida State beat them. I think they scored all their points in the first half and then held on to win. That's mostly what I remember about that game, is being at the lake house and watching it. I was 9.
Corey, can I read an excerpt from Sports Illustrated back from 1980?
Sure.
The name of the game is, after all, football. Isn't it ironic that the least appreciated facet of the sport is the art of putting foot to leather? Those Heisman types run with it and throw it and catch it, but kick it? Perish the thought. Yet last Saturday, before a capacity crowd of 76,152 in Lincoln's Memorial Stadium, it was Florida State's 2 kickers, Ron Stark and Bill Capice, who stole the show from Nebraska's Heisman candidate running back Jarvis Redwine. When it was all over, the Seminoles,
that's right.
The Seminoles had booted the Cornhuskers, who had come into the game with the number 3 ranking, out of the unbeaten ranks 18-14 and given a swift kick to Nebraska's dreams of a national championship. Gosh, I miss that kind of prose from my sports writers.
The days of yesteryear, man. Go read like a sports column from like the 1920s. Babe Ruth's majestic swing, like Thor, a hammer from the gods, sent the ball skyward to Zeus himself. Like it was crazy how they wrote back then. That was a nice lead to that story. But yeah, and then the next week they beat number 3 Nebraska, and then the very next week is the one we did the War Chat with Bobby Butler on YouTube. Go find it, folks, on our YouTube page, because they beat Pitt, who was also number 3, the very next week, and Capice had 5 field goals in that game. But when you think about Bobby Bowden, and we should talk about that this will be the first game since his passing, and they are going to honor him. When you think about what he did to the program, from 4-21, the 3 years before he got there, 4 years later they're playing in an Orange Bowl. But some people think that's kind of a fluke, like they didn't play a lot of good teams. So 1980 was when they were going to get their comeuppance. They got Nebraska and Pitt back-to-back, 2 teams vying for the national championship that both finished in the top 10 in the country. He beats them both back-to-back with all these no-star recruits, which isn't necessarily true. Some of those guys were highly recruited, but you know what I mean? Yeah. That's when he really, really put Florida State on the map, was like, okay, they're not going anywhere. They're built for the long haul. This was not just a one-year fluke, was that game. So, and as far as it goes for Nebraska, I don't think anybody listening to this show, if Florida State hires the right coach, a good coach, doesn't have to be Saban, because Jimbo Fisher isn't Saban, but a good coach, you're going to win at Florida State. I don't know that you can say that at Nebraska anymore. I guess that's my overriding point, right? Yeah. Like Scott Frost took a team that went winless, and 2 years later they were 13-0, right?
Yeah, correct.
That's incredible. Yeah. He is proven to be, unless that was a complete fluke, a pretty darn good football coach, and he can't win there. But so that's what you hope. If Norvell's the real deal, if he can coach, you can win at Florida State and win big.
And that dovetails into us wrapping up and making our final score predictions. I do think we'll feel really good for decent parts of the game on Sunday about this offense. So there's been one consistency here in the last 2 weeks of watching them practice, is just their willingness to maybe get out of their comfort zone, that being Mike and Kenny. Because no matter what Brian Kelly said, I don't know how much of the history they have with a running quarterback at the controls, but they really have embraced kind of the skill set of Jordan and tailored a lot of stuff for him. And that also is something that McKenzie can also execute. So maybe I should say they've tailored their offense to these 2 quarterbacks that have skill sets that's not very similar to a Brady White or a Mike Bercovici that they had at Arizona State. So you're going to see them put a lot of stress on the Notre Dame defense. So I really do think the first half is going to be really fun for a Florida State fan because there's so many different ways they were finding ways to run like a screen pass. Like the short pass game is so boring. I hate it. I'm such an Al Davis vertical throw the ball down the field, please guy. But the way they ran stuff in the last week and a half here, it's like, man, that's kind of exciting to see. And it's going to be really tough to defend against if this quarterback can be durable and hold up over the course of 60 minutes. They're going to do some things. There's wrinkles, and you can say, hey, this is them trying to do smoke and mirrors to hang with a team that's superior to them. Well, hey, man, that's called good coaching.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. So I do think we'll see lots of spurts of running stuff where you're like, man, we'll get pieces to this puzzle. I don't know how the puzzle's going to look with Mike Norvell being the head coach of Florida State. I think we'll walk away with some nice, maybe corner pieces. Maybe that's the offense of the puzzle. That's what you want to put up first. They're going to feel good about it. That said, though, Notre Dame 27, Florida State 20.
Okay, fair enough. I would say that the one thing to keep in mind when you're watching this game is what's happening at the line of scrimmage, which is something you should always watch. We should always watch that. But don't necessarily, if it's a mismatch, if they're having a hard time blocking that defensive line, that does not necessarily mean these coaches don't know what they're doing. It just means they can't block it up. So that goes back to what we were talking about the other day. Like, same on the defensive side of the ball. If your linebackers where they're supposed to be, they filled the hole, they're there, and Kyron Williams just blasts right through them or goes around them, I don't know that I'm going to just judge Adam Fuller like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you can only cook with the groceries that you have. And right now, up front, on offense, they're solid. But Notre Dame has a pretty darn good defensive line. It might be one of the best Florida State plays all year. Could be the best. Of course, why would Florida State not open with a really good defense? Like, that's just what they do. So that being said, the offense I guess I'm just saying this, covering my bases, because I do think the offense is going to be good this year. I don't know what they're going to do Sunday night, and I'm not going to judge them and make a complete – it's not going to be a referendum on the 2021 season by what happens Sunday night, against one of the best defenses they'll face. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I will, though. I'll bring napalm. I will scorch this place. I will bring the hot takes for you all on Monday. Do not fear.
There you go. And I'll try to be a little more measured. That's what I do. But also, I'm not about the life of moral victories. I'm not about the life of giving up 38 or 41 points to a team that doesn't really do that to anybody. Notre Dame isn't a high-scoring, high-flying, going to put up 50 on teams. This isn't Clemson. So if you go out there and get bum-fuzzled again and get run over and give up 40-something points again, I'm going to have some hot takes for you too, baby.
Ooh, there we go.
I'm going to have some hot takes. It's going to be scorching. It's going to be a fireworks show on Monday. But yeah, my prediction, because I'll pander. You guys listen. You're Florida State fans, and what, are you going to get mad at me if I'm wrong? That would be weird. Like, or you said Florida State was going to win. How dare you say that about the team I cheer for? I'm going to say, like I said earlier, Florida State 31-30.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, Fitzdog walking it off with a 42-yarder from the left hash. It's going to come off the foot like, oh boy, is that going right? But it's going to straighten out and just tuck right inside that right post. And the plate's going to go nuts.
I just got chills.
Go nuts.
I just got chills thinking about Bobby Bowden from above, just giving a little, just blowing it back inside.
a quick little push to the right.
That'd be awesome. All right, let's root for that. 31-30. That would be amazing.
Elbowing Rockney's ass out of the way. You've had 100 years to do this,
Gipper.
dude.
Suck it, Gipper. Beat it. All right, folks, head up to Horizons Bar and Grill off Bannerman Road, 5:30. Seminole Headlines Appreciation Party. Corey, Ira, Jeff, Tom. I'm sure more folks from the warchant.com family will be up there. Saturday, Corner Pocket, 2 p.m. That'll be the big blowout hangout. We'll have goodies to give away to our subscribers. First 200 people through the doors, I think, get a T-shirt as well. It's a really nice-looking T-shirt, so come out for that. Pre-game show, I think 4 to 6 p.m., Tom and Jeff. Post-game show, 10 minutes after the conclusion of the game with Gene and Tom. Man, we're going to have the War Chant wrap with Corey and Ira talking about the game afterwards. We'll have all the interviews up. Some of them will be released as a podcast, so you can check that out. We are going to have this team covered unlike any other. I mean, quite literally, I don't know who else is covering a college team like we are planning on doing for this season and moving forward. So excited to be part of it. Thank you so much for all listening. Corey, I can't wait to see you. Get my arms around you again. Just breathe you in, man. Just breathe in your musk.
It's going to be sweet, buddy. It's going to be sweet.
We
love you all. We love you all.
He's Corey Clark. I'm Aslan Hudjavani. Thanks so much for listening to Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee. Come explore our world of coffee. DeLuna Coffee features over 24 different blends. DeLuna's unique roasts can be delivered ground finely for drip coffee makers, coarse for the craft crowd, untouched as a whole bean, or even in convenient K-Cups. Founded in 2014 by the Lennox family, Ed and Brett are FSU alums and boosters who are extending a special offer to all listeners. Use the promo code WARCHANT15 for a 15% discount. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.